viewers and friends, Andrew back again, and welcome to another video. And today I've got a contest entry for HorrorMacabreCrazy or Philip. If you're not subscribed to HorrorMacabreCrazy, I highly recommend it, especially if you are into anything horror related, which I'm sure everyone that watches my videos is. He has a fantastic channel, uploads a lot of great reviews, updates, and he has a very impressive hardbox collection. So his channel link will be left in the description box. Please check him out, and while you're at it, why not support him and enter his contest. So his contest he's running, I think it goes for about a month, and he's giving away some great prizes, and the contest is a super fun idea. So basically it's to list 10 of your favourite horror villains, which is always fun. Now, I'm not only entering to hopefully win one of the great prizes, I really like to support my friends on here when it comes to their contests, so that's always the main aim for my entry. So that's pretty much it. I'm just going to get straight into it. Now, I did upload a top 10 horror villains video a while back. It was last year sometime, so for anyone that's watched that previous video, my selection is probably going to be fairly similar, but yeah, I definitely still wanted to enter anyway. So my number one pick is pretty much my number one pick, and I'm sure everyone viewing this video will know who that already is, but the other 9 are pretty much at random. So yeah, enough rambling, let's get started. So my first pick is Jigsaw from the Saw series. Now, I think Jigsaw is a awesome character, pretty unique, because he doesn't really kill anyone. He basically lets them decide their own fate, and I think that's a very interesting idea for a villain. As the series goes on, you learn more about him, and he's kind of a complex character actually. So yeah, I had to include Jigsaw. Next up we have Sam from the amazing Trick or Treat horror anthology. Sam's awesome. I mostly chose him just for his costume. He's dressed up in a little sack. He's pretty cute, and I just think he's a fantastic villain. So that's all I really have to say on Sam. There is a Trick or Treat 2 in the works, so I am super pumped for that. But yeah, definitely had to include Sam from Trick or Treat in this list. Next we have Isaac from Children of the Corn, mainly the original film, which is basically, well, he was in part 6 I believe, but anyway, we're going to be focusing on him from the original film. He is one creepy kid, and I love killer kid films, and Children of the Corn to me is pretty much the best one out there. I think Isaac, for such a young child to basically get a whole town of kids to turn on their own parents is something pretty crazy. So Isaac is proudly in my list. Next we have Mick Taylor, the good old Aussie villain from, of course, Wolf Creek 1 and 2. If you haven't seen Wolf Creek 2 yet, definitely check it out. Awesome sequel. Had to include Mick Taylor. He was kind of a last minute decision actually, but I wanted to throw him in there. I think he's a pretty awesome villain. He's super creepy. Honestly, I don't think I've come across anyone in movie history with a more creepy laugh than Mick Taylor has. It sends chills up my spine, seriously. He's pretty crazy, pretty full on, but definitely wanted to include good old Mick Taylor in this list. So yeah, Mick Taylor from Wolf Creek 1 and 2. Next we have Lord Crumb from, of course, Bad Taste, and you guys know how much I love this movie. It's amazing. Lord Crumb, I think, is a pretty awesome villain. He's an alien who basically gets a whole bunch of other aliens to invade a small town over in New Zealand, and with plans to capture all the human race and turn them into intergalactic hamburger meat. Crazy idea, crazy character. He's probably one of the most fun villains that I've actually come across, and he looks fantastic. His mask, his whole costume looks really cool, so definitely had to include Lord Crumb. Next we have Frank Zito from Maniac. Now, I could have gone either way with this one. I could have stuck with the original with Joe Spinell, or did I choose the remake with Elijah Wood? I've decided to go with the remake, for the simple fact that I think Elijah Wood really nailed the role, and I was kind of surprised. Don't get me wrong, I'm a massive fan of Elijah Wood, not so much the Lord of the Rings stuff, more his earlier work, and in all honesty, as much as I liked Elijah Wood, I really had my doubts of whether he could pull off a movie like this, and he definitely did. He was absolutely amazing in this movie. Very psychotic, very sick individual, and just the way that the movie was told through his eyes, you really got into his mind, and I just think Elijah Wood played a fantastic Frank, so that's why he's in the list. Alright, 4 more to go, and they're fairly generic picks. So the next one we have is, of course, Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th series. I don't really need to say too much about him, but out of every slasher killer, I think he pulls off some of the most impressive and creative kills, especially out of the genre from the 80s. You really cannot go past Jason's kills. They're absolutely fantastic, and honestly, I can't think of a bad one that he has done. The remake, the kills were a bit iffy in that, but we're not really going to mention that. But yeah, one of the best killers in slasher history, Jason Voorhees. Next we have Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, obviously. And I am going to focus on the original film here because I really do not care that much for any of the sequels, but Leatherface from the original I think is a fantastic character, and he's quite an emotional character because not only do you see a very deranged and psychotic side to the character, but you also see a pretty emotionally scared side to his character, especially when the family start rearing their heads within the movie. He's quite scared, and it definitely shows on screen. So I think having a character in a horror movie that shows two very different and extreme emotions, very well done. So had to include Leatherface. Next we have Chucky from the Child's Play series, and I love Chucky. He's an awesome killer, and what more can be said? He's a killer doll. How much awesomer can you get than that? Chucky holds a special place in my heart because he was pretty much the very first horror villain that got me into the genre. The first Child's Play film was the first horror movie that I ever saw, and it's played a pretty big part in my love for the genre today. So had to include Chucky, of course. He's awesome, pulls off some pretty sweet kills and some very memorable one-liners. Alright, and to wrap things up, it's no surprise who I'm going to say next, and of course it is none other than Freddy Krueger. I'm just kidding. Freddy did not make this list. My number one pick, and it is my favourite horror villain of all time, is of course Michael Myers. Wow, what a surprise. Had to include Michael for obvious reasons. He is my favourite horror villain of all time. I think in terms of a horror villain or slasher character, Michael is a very interesting character to say the least. He doesn't say a thing through any of the movies. Well, correction, in the remake he does talk when he's young, but in terms of an adult Michael, he doesn't speak, and I think that is pretty interesting. He basically lets his kills and stalking do all the talking, and yeah, he's a very dark, emotionless killer. So that's really all I have to say on good old Michael Boy. He's awesome, I absolutely love him, so he definitely had to be my number one pick. Okay guys, so that basically does it for my contest entry for Horror Macabre Crazy, Philip. Philip, I hope you've enjoyed this entry. I hope it was what you were looking for. And guys, once again, if you are not subscribed to Horror Macabre Crazy, channel link will be left in the description box below. Please check him out. He's a great YouTuber and I highly recommend subscribing to him. Okay, Philip, I hope you've enjoyed the entry. To everyone else that plans to enter or already has, best of luck, and thanks a lot for watching.